Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julie and today we will be discussing the great wide world of window treatments. With such a variety of materials and styles out there, window treatments are an ideal way to bring color, pattern, texture, and style to elevate the vibe of your space. They're also super practical, providing various degrees of privacy, insulation, and sunlight. This video will be a comprehensive beginner's guide to all things window treatments. I'll be breaking down and explaining all the various types of window treatments so that you can choose the correct one for your ideal space. This is really going to be a lengthy, in-depth look at window treatments, so grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your green juice, your wine, whatever your poison, and let's dive right in. Let's talk about style. First, you want to consider the type of ambiance that you want to create in your room. There are so many different styles ranging from classic to traditional to contemporary and modern, and there's window treatments to fit every style and budget. The way your windows are covered or not will help set the design tone for the room. First, let's talk about the difference between drapery panels and curtains. I'm pretty sure you've heard of the term drapes. You see them all online and all over catalogs, but let me tell you, when I first started in design school, I learned that drapes are a verb. So clearly that's not the correct terminology. If you want to get like all designer lingo fancy, call them drapery panels. So what is the difference between drapery panels and curtains? The simple difference is that curtains are usually lighter in material and they're unlined, allowing some sunlight to filter through. Drapery panels are a little bit heavier, they're thicker, they're typically lined and a little bit more formal. But if you've heard drapery panels and curtains used interchangeably, that's totally okay. I mean, it's very common and people confuse them all the time. If you're specifying drapery panels and you want optimal fullness, the width of the panels should double the width of the windows. But if you're trying to save a little bit of money, have your fabricator make them 1.5 times the width of the windows instead. There's a variety of different drapery top details out there. Drapery panels with little pleats visibly sewn at the top of the panel is a little bit more formal and very sophisticated. This type of design works with rings and you place them right on rods in a corded pulley system. My favorites are French pleats, whether or not single, double, or triple pleated for pure luxury. This type of pleating looks really amazing with silk or like a silk poly blend or even velvet, just because the fabric is so lush and rich and it has a lot of depth and texture. Lately, I've been specifying inverted pleats in a really modern setting. I love the way they still add dimension to the drapery panel, but it's a little bit more tailored and streamlined. When selecting curtains, you have a choice of a variety of different hanging styles. Rod pockets hang from a rod that's inserted in a channel on the top of the curtain. The combination of lush fabric with a substantial rod looks really elegant in a formal room, while the lightweight fabric softens the space it's in. Rod pockets are a little bit harder to slide on the rod, so if you know that you'll be using the curtains a lot, this might not be the right choice for you. Tap-top curtains have little fabric tabs that accommodate the rod. This keeps the rod visible and works well in informal rooms. Grommet curtains have holes rimmed with metal rings that your curtain will go through. If you suspect that you'll be opening and closing your curtains frequently, grommet curtains will be the right choice for you as they slide easily along the rod. A designer's tip for specifying grommet curtains: make sure the color of the grommet rings match the color of the pole finish. Grommet and tab-top curtains typically look more informal and casual than the rod pocket type. Moving on to sheers. You guys know how I love sheer panels. I mean, behind me, I've lined like a bunch of sheer panels on my windows. The reason I love it is because it lets so much sunlight through. You still have semi-privacy and it's really great for giving your windows that ambient glow. Since you can still see through sheers, if you want a little bit more privacy, I would pair them with blackout drapery panels or curtains. If your home doesn't get a lot of natural daylight or if there are dark corners in your space, that's when you should use sheers. Moving on to valances and cornices. What is a valance? A valance is a sheet of fabric that's usually stretched along a rod that's hung directly above a window frame. Simple valances can be made from any type of lightweight fabric and they're typically hung right on a rod. They can bring a burst of color or pattern or texture to a very casual room. On the flip side, a pleated valance will add a little bit more of a tailored look and sophistication. Cornices are valances made from wood and they're typically painted or covered with fabric or wall covering. They're mounted to the wall above a window and they look really great in rooms with architectural detailing like crown molding. Both valances and cornices pair really well with shades or sheers or additional curtains. The key here is to go for really modern lines, clean lines, right angles, versus something with like really frilly swags or ruffles. Stay away from ruffles and swags, guys. It's just like bed skirts. You want to keep the look very tailored and minimal. Moving on to shades and blinds. A shade is typically a long piece of fabric that rolls at the top. Shades cover your windows from top to bottom, and when completely closed, they allow the maximum amount of privacy. When paired along with a valance or drapery panel or curtains, they give you the best of both worlds in terms of form and function. They're simple, they're elegant, and they can be mixed and matched in any type of casual setting or formal room. Because they fit snugly inside of a window frame, they offer a very streamlined and tailored look. Shades are really ideal for bathrooms and kitchens, any space where flowing window treatments just aren't practical. Roman shades bring a tailored look into the room, and they provide excellent color and texture in any traditional or informal setting. When closed, a Roman shade lies flat against the window, and it can show off a pop of color, a really beautiful pattern, or really cool texture on your window. When it's open, the shade fabric stacks evenly along the top side of your window and creates these really beautiful folds. Billowy balloon shades fold along the bases when they're fully open. It frames a window with a really soft, romantic, and gauzy look. I've installed this type of billowy shade in my client's dressing room before, and I just really love the look. It's chic, it's modern, it's sophisticated, and it's really the only time I'll allow a little bit of ruffles to sneak in. Bamboo shades are inexpensive and expressive. I love the look of bamboo for the texture and dimension alone. There are so many different varieties of colors of bamboo shades that you really can pair them with any type of drapery look and be able to custom design your space in an instant. Roller shades roll up at the top with a pull of a cord. This look gives the window a really clean and modern appearance and works really beautifully with drapery and curtains as well. In contemporary settings, you'll see a lot of different examples of mixed-use window treatments. You'll often see simple roller shades paired with heavier drapery panels, or bamboo blinds paired with unlined curtains. Using this paired method will give you the maximum amount of control over the light and privacy peeking through. If you want further control over the amount of light coming through, I would specify blackout panels or at least blackout liners behind the shades or the curtains. Moving on to blinds. Blinds have slats made out of metal, wood, plastic. I've seen these window treatments made out of fabric slats of blinds before. Blinds give you the greatest flexibility in terms of privacy and light control. Wood, bamboo, and fabric-colored blinds give a very soft and organic feel to the room, whereas aluminum, metal, or plastic gives more of an industrial vibe. My personal opinion, I hate blinds. I think they look cheap, I think they look tacky, and not only that, I think they are such a nuisance to clean. I mean, you literally have to dust every single slat. If you've ever tried the daunting task of cleaning blinds, I mean, it takes all dang day. But the thing I hate more than blinds is plantation shutters. I mean, I just shudder at the thought of plantation shutters, and I'll tell you why. Number one, they're not cost effective. I mean, they're really expensive. Usually, window fabricators will push installing plantation shutters in your home because they make the most profit for the least amount of work involved. All they have to do is come into your house, measure, every single window, send the measurements off to their fabricator, and then a few weeks later, you have these custom shutters that to me looks almost like a prison cell when you're outside on the street. I feel like they block out so much natural light, and at the same time they don't allow you to push furniture up against the windows, or else you wouldn't be able to open the shutters. I understand the practical aspect of it, especially if you're living on a first level home where you have neighbors peeking in at you all the time, but I think there are so many options that are better out there in terms of window treatments that will fit your style and personality. I mean, if you have plantation shutters in your home, what do you think that says about your style? When I walk into a client's home and they already have plantation shutters, I always ask them why. Why did you install these plantation shutters? And 9 out of 10 times they say, because I didn't know what else to do. I don't know if that's a good enough reason for you, but for me as a designer, you could do better. I'm not going to dive too much into materials because like color, to me, it's just a personal preference. However, choosing the right material and texture for your space is very important. The weight and texture of the fabric will control the amount of light filtering through. And at the same time, you need to pay attention to how well it holds up to sun exposure. If there's too much light coming through the windows and they're not covered by a heavy drapery panel or some form of curtains, sometimes it has a capacity to fade the furniture that you put inside the room, so just be careful. Linen and canvas are typically very durable materials that drape very beautifully. Silk and velvet fit in formal spaces. There are just so many different varieties of fabric options out there, so make sure you choose one that fits your personality, your style, and the space. Moving on to functionality. If you're torn between the different looks of window treatment types, maybe you love the look of linen curtains but you want the privacy of shades, you don't have to choose. You really can layer the look on any type of window treatments to make it work for you. This method is also especially effective if you have radiators or heaters at your window. Even when you're keeping the curtains open so as not to block the airflow, the inner window treatment can still provide the privacy that you need. Blackout light in the back of the panel helps block light and adds additional privacy. This is perfect for bedrooms or even media rooms when you want it completely pitch dark. Liner fabric helps protect the fabric from harmful UVA and UVB sunlight that can also fade the fabric. So depending on the function that you're after, it's a good idea to look for fabric that's backed with a liner or blackout. So to sum it up, for a formal look, consider drapery panels. For a tailored effect, consider shades. For the utmost flexibility, consider layering drapery panels or curtains over your sheers, shades, or blinds. Let's move on to everyone's design dilemma: measurements and size considerations. Any of these type of window treatments can be mounted on the inside of your window frame or on the outside of your window frame. If you've watched a few of my videos, you'll know that the key way to make a small room look larger is by mounting your hardware on the outside of your window frames. But before we get to that, let's talk about when inside mounting would be the best fit for you. Positioning shades and blinds on the inside of your window creates a very uniform look that's very tailored and works well if you pair it with curtains or drapery on the outside. That's more for a custom look, but if you can't afford that custom price tag, there's no reason that you can't specify a shade or a blind that's just a little bit larger than the size of your window. Valances and cornices are most often mounted on the outside of your window because they almost frame the look of that window. Typically, you'll want to measure at least 1 to 3 inches on both sides of the window to install a valance or a cornice. To size an inside mounted treatment, just measure the distance between the casing from inside left to inside right. Knowing the vertical distance of the casing also helps for you to specify the length of the panel. For outside mounted window treatments, notice the length and the width of the window frame. This is where it could get very tricky and where your designer hat is going to come into play. You've seen from my previous videos on common mistakes where to mount that drapery rod. A typical distance that I love to use is about 3 to 4 inches underneath the ceiling or underneath the crown molding. This method will visually extend the vertical height of the room, making those low ceilings look taller than they really are. Now that you know where to hang your rod, let's talk about the length of the panel. To specify the length of that panel, you'll then want to measure the height of the rod to the floor. If your room has multiple windows in a row, you'll also want to measure the distance between the windows to get the full width of every panel you should purchase. These measurements are super important when choosing the width and length of the window treatment and the hardware placement. Moving on to window hardware. Window hardware, from curtain rods to clips to finials, put the finishing touch in every single room. When it comes to materials and colors, bright brass adds a touch of elegance to a traditional room, while brushed aluminum, nickel, or even stainless steel looks sleek and modern. I've been loving matte black for its transitional look, and wood tone just adds warmth. Used with curtains and drapery panels, curtain rods suspend the fabric on top of your window. Substantial rods in really wide diameters are a little bit more formal and create a dramatic focal point for any room. Narrow cafe rods are best suited for kitchens and bathrooms using lightweight curtains and materials. Tension rods are mounted on the inside of your window frames, and they're perfect for renters or any type of space where you don't want to drill any holes. When choosing an adjustable rod, make sure you pick a rod side that doesn't fully extend the entire width of your window. What you don't want is a little sag in the middle. This will provide the extra support that you need for the rods and the drapery. Double curtain rods use 2 sets of rods to frame the window. The inner rod is designed to hold the sheer fabric in place, and it's usually on a thinner rod, and the outer rod is where you'll put the heavier drapery panel or the curtains. To let some light in but maintain privacy, you'll open the outer curtains and leave the sheers in place. Moving on to finials. Finials are those ornamental pieces that you add to the end of curtain rods. They're most commonly made from wood, metal, glass, or even acrylic, and they add a decorative touch to the window treatment. Choose your finial shape based on your style. Round ones are usually more traditional, cylindrical ones more modern. There's also pyramid, square, blocked, fleur-de-lis. They come in all shapes and sizes. If you can't decide on a particular shape for a finial, I would choose one with a profile that closely matches your rod so it almost disappears. Clip rings attached to the top of your curtain using little hooks or clips that you slide directly over a rod. These work well in both formal and casual rooms. The rings slide across your rod and it makes it so easy to open and close your windows. Look for ornate rings in bright bold colors and metallic hues to create a dramatic effect, or you can opt for sleek and shiny metals for a contemporary, understated feel. The right window treatments and hardware can soften a room, create a dramatic focal point, and add personality to your space. To create your desired look, it really helps to know all the different styles and the functions that are out there. As illustrated in this video, you'll know that every single type of window treatment has a different effect on your space. Blending all the different window treatments with the variety of hardware out there gives you countless combinations for any type of window treatment that you desire. I mean, really, the options are absolutely endless, so I know that there's something out there that is going to express your personality and your vibe. We did it, guys. I know that this is a lot of information to digest, and I know that when you need it, I will be here for you. Just consider this video your #1 resource as the ultimate guide to window treatments. If you like this type of content, please give this video a thumbs up. And let's start chatting in the comments. I love the comment section, and I'm especially loving that you guys are sending me all of your design dilemmas right here in the comments. For this video, I want you to comment below and let me know your #1 window treatment dilemma that's currently happening in your house right now. I think what I want to do is pick out the most common ones and illustrate how I would resolve them in a future video. Is that something that you guys are interested in? I know I've been getting a lot of comments on addressing actual viewers' spaces, so if this is something that you're interested in, please let me know in the comments below. As a bonus below, I have linked all my favorite retailers for any type of window treatments you desire. From drapery panels to curtains to shades to blinds to sheers, you can look them all up in the description box below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.